Hi, this is Vidya Balan.
Hi, this is Srijit Mukherji.
And you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
There have been so many films, serials on partition, but this is a new perspective which many people they have not been aware of.
Also, I read The Other Side of Silence also by Urvashi Butalia. It talks about women during partition, which, women have actually been glossed over when you read any books on partition. But no one's talked about the fringe elements. Prostitutes are the fringe elements of society. They're amongst the fringe elements. So I think that's what makes it all the more interesting, because while we've talked about how families moved and people had to leave behind their properties, start afresh, no one talked about what happened to these people who were anyway displaced elements.
Yeah, an unwanted element.
Unwanted elements amongst the displaced elements. So not only were they marginal, they were marginal of the marginal.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the history that we see, the partition that we have seen in movies and every form of popular cultural literature, it has been a partition of the politicians. You know what Nehru said, you know what Jinnah said, but did you know what the head of the family who had to, walk for hundreds and thousands of kilometers across and then possibly face murder, arson, loot, molestation, rape at the hands of your opponent party?
Absolutely.
Because as Urvashi very, very potently points out, that the women were considered to be the symbols of honor for both the countries. So if you have to dishonor the other country, you have to dishonor their women. You have to violate their women. Which is why you need to have a perspective of partition from A, people who actually got affected, B, out of those people, the people who were marginalized, C, out of those who were marginalized, the more marginalized. Not only were the women, they were prostitutes. So they were like and as they say, the revolution or the protest or the resistance often comes when it is at the deepest or the rock bottom of society, because that is where the exploitation is maximum.
Absolutely.
That is when society says this and no further.
Right. No, definitely. Now, personally, I find many of the films which have a subtext beautiful. Even Dirty Picture had a lot of subtext. Many people may not have noticed that, but it had a lot of subtext into it. I just mentioned a couple of dialogues from whatever we've seen so far of Begum Jaan. One is when you just tell that guy that, do you know that this girl that you just slept with, what religion does she belong to? So this entire idea of that with the entire in all these hardships which people have to go through because of religion is something which is totally bizarre. The second one is when you say, which once again has a lot of irony to it, that all the expletives.
I was just going to say that when you were talking, saying
they are
true.
on women.
So सारी जो माँ बहन की गालियाँ होती हैं, माँ बहन की गालियाँ होती हैं.
Right. And that is such a. It's surprising that no one has pointed that out till now, which is really ironical in its own way as well. We've had the galis many times in movies, but this point of view is something that we come across first of all. How do you look at this? Because these things, what makes movies long lasting is these lines, these emotions.
Absolutely.
No,
you remember them?
So probably people will remember this dialogue, but what is the real sense of it? It's what Srijit said, that honor is only linked to women in the family. So if I want to put you down, I will use your mother or your sister, to abuse you.
Right.
And the moment you do that, everyone gets the atmosphere gets inflamed. People have gone to war because of abusing each other's women, because honor is only defined, which is why we have honor killings to date.
Correct.
So I think as long as people understand, or as long as people know this dialogue, hear this dialogue, they enjoy it, somewhere deep down it will have some impact. So even if they don't process it, it will make you think, right?
It definitely does.
And that is the magic of the character also. What Begum Jaan very craftily does is that she subverts patriarchy. So it's not as if she doesn't abuse. She uses those very abuses to abuse, and then she says that, look at the irony of the situation. Even to abuse, you have to use women.
You have to abuse your own mother and sister.
You have to abuse. So she subverts it. She uses it on patriarchy, on men, and says that this is your rule that you have set. And I am being forced to use it as a woman because you have set this rule. But I'm going to use it against you. And which she does to the male gaze as well. She's running a brothel, right? So she's obviously catering to the male gaze.
Correct.
But she's using that to actually protect and give autonomy to the extent where the women are saying that घर में इतनी आज़ादी नहीं मिली जो यहाँ पे मिली. So she's actually creating an ambience of autonomy for the women. She's actually doing that using the male gaze. She's saying, हाँ जिस्म हमारा, like, so the कानून obviously will be ours only, no? So she's not shying away from that fact. She said no.
That's a very good dialogue as well.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, यहाँ जिस्म हमारा पर उसूल भी हमारे ही चलते हैं. So it's my body, my rules. Exactly that.
Right.
You know, yes, I've been brought here by circumstance. It's not a choice that anyone makes. But now that I'm here, I will and you will play it by my rules.
Yes. So
No, absolutely.
you're coming here. So this is my kingdom. These are my queens. Now you will have to adhere to my rules over here. So you set a price, you go with the girl. But if I see that you're violating any of the rules, I will violently ensure that you're thrown out of here. And she does that also. We see that also.
Correct, definitely.